You know, the word comes before the process, which is a testament to what it is that we're doing right now. It's honestly in alignment with that being the truth. The word comes before the process. If you all remember the story that I told you all about me and being prophesied over, right? I was told what was foreknown or foreseen about what is in alignment with my destined path and my future, right? The word came first, and then the process started. And it's essentially the same thing when it comes to all these tarot messages, or even when you go to church or when you go to God, right? God typically sends you a word before the process starts. For example, you guys are going into tarot land and hearing all these amazing things like, oh, you're about to meet the love of your life. You're about to meet your soulmate. You're about to get a new job. You're about to start that business. You're about to blah, 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 blah. Right? And then you look around in your circumstances and you're like, dude, this don't look nothing like anything is set up. I don't even have the heart posture for that. I'm not looking for that. I don't know what in the world I could even do right now in my current energy to get me out of feeling so stagnant to even believe that whatever it is that you're prophesying is going to come. It just feels good to hear it, right? But keep in mind, you need to be very mindful of how God works and how the process of a miracle actually works. A lot of the times, the word comes before the process. And that's why I mentioned to you all in the beginning. I remember my first time being prophesied over, someone predicting what would happen in my future, what's foreknown for me. He gave me the word surrounding all of these great, amazing things I meant to do. And that was years ago. He never told me when. He never told me how. In fact, one of the main things that he said in that process was surrender the how. It's none of your concern. Just know that if God has it written, he doesn't write in pencil. God writes in pen, not easily erased. But a lot of the times God will give you the word first to hold on to as you go through the process. The word comes before the process so that you have something to hold on to as you go through moments like this or moments like this, right? Because a lot of the times when God is prophesying something to you, or when you're destined for great things, or when you're hearing all of these prophetic words in tarot land of someone telling you about this to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, you should be mindful, right? Because those words, although they are a bit premature, because you have to keep in mind a lot of the times in tarot land, they're either predicting something or giving you language to help you process something that already happened, right? But you still have to, once you click off this video, once you get out of tarot land, once you pull yourself out of all the words and all the magic that's been given to you, you still have the process. And I bring this up because you have to understand, like, there is a lot of shedding that happens when you're in the process of on your way to a miracle. And this is a very important thing for you to really sit with for a moment, right? Because miracles don't happen overnight. A lot of the times it takes years in the making of what people perceive to be an overnight success, right? Which is why a lot of the times the word comes first, because what happens in the process is you shedding all of this self-deception, letting go of things that you once held on to, letting go of wounds. When I pulled this card, the first thing that came to mind was self-deception too. Self-deception. Who you think you are, who you thought you were, who you were in your past. That's a lot of the times that takes up the bulk of the work. God gives you the word before the unshedding. The word comes before the process. And you all may be stuck in this particular moment, or I'll give you an example, right? When I was prophesied over, right, I was receiving a word that was so big and beautiful about what my future is perceived to happen. And I've had to go, once that happened, like I remember I was in such a shock. And mind you, I think this was now back in 2018, 2019. First, I was in shock. Then I went into the process of being so like enamored with it. I wrote it down, and then I went into this obsessive behavior. I was like, well, when is it going to happen? How am I going to happen? Blah, 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 blah. It was so much inner turmoil that sparked. And then I went through a series of different circumstances and situations that put me in this state of like confusion, right? Because how could I have this prophetic word to hold on to that I'm meant to be great, I'm meant to do this, I'm meant to do that? Or on your end, how could you be receiving all these tarot messages confirming the love of my life is going to come, my bills, and I'm going to get, how can I be receiving all of that prophecy and be feeling like this? So for some of you guys, this looks like being in a disassociated state for a really long time, or feeling like just things haven't worked out in the ways that you expected. Which is understandable, right? Because if you get prophesied like, oh, your husband's coming and coming and coming, because faith comes by hearing, right? So for a really long time, a lot of you have found yourself in tarot land where people are telling you, you're meant to do great things, you're meant to do this, you're meant to be in alignment with this, you're going to come in alignment with your soul tribe, you're going to meet your soulmate, you're going to XYZ and XYZ and XYZ. But there's a process associated with this word that a lot of the times starts off looking first like this. I'm saying this because I want you to understand, if you're in this or going through one of the biggest ego deaths and dark nights of the soul that you've ever been through, it's because ultimately it's still leading towards what it is you were prophesied, right? So me, as you know, your spiritual guide, I come across your For You page and I'm telling you, you're actually about to step into starting your own business. You're actually about to step into like meeting your husband. I wonder what the process looks like associated with that. I wonder what the process looks like associated with that. I'm giving you the word first to prepare you for the process that's in association with that. Because see, what you have to understand is like, when prophecy is given, when God gives you prophecy and he gives you vision, he gives you foresight, whether that come in the form of dreams or a video like this, or you go to church and they prophesy, or just even this deep inner knowing that you have that something's coming, some change is afoot, you have to understand that is something that you're meant to hold on to as you go through the process. Because a lot of the times the word comes first, because the de-shedding, who you become on the journey, is what's most important so that you can sustain this. You've been shedding who you used to be. For some of you guys, that's why oh my God, for some of you guys, that's why you hit this like, this almost quiet state. You're not necessarily depressed, but you're not happy. You're not necessarily like, you're restless. You're going through all these uncomfortable truths coming back up to the surface. And it's because essentially like, this is divine help. No one told you, like, I told you the process. I told you the reward, what comes with this. I promised this. God promised you this. But the process of it, that's something that is God's divine assistance with helping you through this. And I hope this is making sense, but you have to understand, like, the word comes before the process. So whatever it is that you were prophesied about or what you have faith for, the fact that you can't see it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It means that you're in the process, and you have to understand where you are in that process, right? Because a lot of the times once the word hits, so does the tower.